Hey gorgeous, welcome back to the makeup aisle. Today's video is going to be a tutorial and also kind of a small review on the new Carli Bybel Deluxe palette that just came out. I just received it yesterday, so I wanted to put together a tutorial for you and a look with this palette. So this is the look right here. As you can see, it's something that's really nice for every day. I really enjoyed putting this together because if you saw my last tutorial and actually the last few tutorials, they were very smoky, so I wanted to try something a little more subdued. At the end of the video, I will also talk about the palette a little bit, what my take was from it, from using it today, talking about the highlighters. I also swatched the highlighters for you. And yeah, I'm just excited that I got it. It's a really nice palette. I do like it. I don't want to spoil the little review, but I really enjoyed putting together this look. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to go in with my MAC paint pot to prep my eyes to get ready for the look. So I'm just going to grab my brush and put a little bit of that on my eyelid. And once I have that all over the eyelid, I am going to go in with the first shade up top here in the Carli Bybel Deluxe palette, and I am going to grab my Juvia's Place J125 blender. And basically I am just setting the eyeshadow primer so that the shadows that I put on after this do not skip or budge or are difficult to put on. Once that's all set, I am going to go in with this shade right here, which is right in the middle. It's almost like a mauvey light purple shade. And I'm going to pick that up with the same Juvia's Place brush. And I'm going to start carving out my crease. I'm very satisfied with the way that looks. I'm keeping this look kind of light. I'm not really going too dark with everything, as you can see on this other eye right here. But I am definitely impressed with the way the color packs on the eye. You get a good payoff right off the bat. As you can see, that was kind of one swirl, tap off the excess, and then I went in to carve the crease. I am then going to go in with my MAC 242 flat definer brush, and I use this all the time to pack on pigments and glitters and that sort of thing. And I am going to pick up this shade right here, which is right next to the mauve. And the brush is already a little wet because I wet it for the other eye with some MAC Fix Plus. And I am just going to pack that on the inner half of the eyelid. And as you can see, when I was applying the color, I just stayed on the lid and really didn't go above that natural crease. And like I said, I was just doing the inner half of the eye because on the outer half, I'm going to use a darker shade. So once that's down, I'm going to pick up my Sigma Blending E25 brush. And I am going to pick up this dark shade right over here, right next to the shade that I used in the inner half of the eye. So basically I went 1, 2, 3, and now 4. Now I will tell you with this shade that I am using here, even though it looks really dark in the pan, you really have to build it up to get any darker than what it is. But I am going to pack it on because I do want that outer V to be a little darker than everything else. I'm also going on to like half of the eyelid as well, because wherever I don't have that shimmery shade, I want to make sure I pack on this darker shade. I am then going to go in with my Sedona Lace EB13 brush. I've been using this brush lately to buff out all of the shadows so that there are no harsh edges or harsh lines. That looks well blended. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in with the original Juvia's Place brush that I was using, and I am going to go ahead and pick up that mauve color again and go up top a little bit just to have a nice gradation of color and to also further blend out that darker purple. And again, it's not too dark. You have to really build it up if you want it a certain shade or certain intensity, I guess. But this is fine, and like I said, I didn't want to do too dark of a look today. And I'm just going to buff that out a little more with my Sedona Lace brush that has no color on it. I'm going to go back in with my MAC 242. I'm going to pick up that, I guess, shimmer shade, if you will. It's not really shimmery. Well, I guess it is shimmery. And I'm just going to intensify that inner corner again, because sometimes you lose some of that as you're putting on other shadows. I'm going to go in with my Royal and Lang Nickel brush, and that's what it looks like. This is the brush I always use to highlight the brow bone, and I am going to be using this like vanilla shade right here. You can definitely use any of the highlighter shades if that's what you want to do, but I wanted it to be like more subdued with this look. And I don't know if you're picking that up on camera. It's probably not even, well, I guess it's a little bit prominent, but like I said, I wanted it to just highlight a little bit, but no shimmer or anything like that. So for me, that's the look done. Like I said, it is very light. It's something that can be used for every day. And I actually, as I'm going through like doing my other eye, I thought I did something that my sister's been asking me to do now for so long. She's like, I need a look that I can wear to the office. You're doing all these purple smoky eyes, all these black smoky eyes. Give me something that I can do for every day. This is honestly a perfect look for every day. You've got enough shading on there. You've got enough depth and dimension, but not something too over the top that you wouldn't feel comfortable wearing to the office. So I would absolutely rock this eye look at the office without issue. It's light enough, but yet you know that you still have a nice eyeshadow look put together. So I'm gonna put the palette aside for now. I'm gonna go in and do my liner, and I'm going in with my Maybelline Eye Studio gel liner in Blackest Black. It's still my very favorite. It's what I tend to use when I am using a gel liner. And this pot has lasted me a really long time. I had another one somewhere and I don't know what the hell happened to it. So as you can see, you're a little more zoomed out. Off camera, I went ahead and popped on my false lash and also cleaned up under this eye with a makeup remover wipe. Just because sometimes for me to apply lashes is an entire production, so I just don't want to waste your time with filming that. But we're going to go ahead and do the rest of our face. And also, before I continue, my sister had mentioned in my last video, she goes, your video is great, but do you not put foundation on your forehead? And I said, yes, I always do, because I didn't say in that video, I always start out with foundation on my forehead because I have to do my eyebrows to make sure that I have a good anchor for when I do the eyeshadow look. So yes, my forehead always has foundation on it. That's always done before I even start filming. So I am going to go ahead and use my NYX Angel Veil oil-free primer. And I'm just going to shake this up a bit because I had to do that a little earlier. It was really watery. I love this primer because it kind of fills in your pores. It's very silicone-y. So if you like those types of primers, you're going to like this one. For corrector today, I'm going to go in with my Smashbox Color Correcting Stick, and this is in dark. As you can see, it's almost like an orange peach. This is a really nice pencil too, and I love the delivery system because it's very, very creamy, and it's just very neat as well. As you can see, that's very orange. Then I'm going to go in with my Real Technique sponge. I always use this one because I can use it wet or dry, and I tend to do my corrector with just the dry sponge, and it's fine. So I'm just pressing that corrector into the skin. And then I am going to be using my All-Nighter foundation from Urban Decay. This is such a great full coverage foundation. It's really, really good. I love it. It blends in beautifully as well. And just like I said, it's full coverage. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now that probably looks really, really white on camera. It does not look like that when I'm looking in the mirror. And once I warm the skin up with bronzer and all that, it will not look like this. For concealer today, I'm going to go in with my Naked Skin from Urban Decay. To blend out the concealer, I am going to use my wet beauty blender, and I always start out with the little chubby end to kind of get it pressed into the skin, and then I'll flip over to the more pointed end to make sure that I get everything as close to the lower lash line as I possibly can. Then to set that, I'm going to be using my Anastasia banana powder, which I love because it just highlights under the eyes so beautifully. Then to set this foundation, I am going to be using my NYX No Filter Finishing Powder. I decided to kind of use a pressed powder today instead of a loose like I normally do. For bronzer today, I am going to be using my NYX Matte Bronzer in medium. Love this bronzer because, like I said, it is matte, so you have no glitter, no shimmer, no chunks of anything that you don't want in there. For blush, I'm going to be using my InStain blush from TheBalm, and this is in Houndstooth, and that's what the color looks like right there. I love this blush. It's one of my very favorites. The brush that I'm using for the blush is my BH Cosmetics V3, which is from their vegan line, and you see it's got a very nice taper there. Before I go back into the Carli Bybel palette and grab a highlighter to highlight the tops of my cheeks, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the eyes by doing the lower lash line. So because I wanted to do a little something extra, I am going to actually go in with a purple, not from the palette, just to add a pop of color. You can absolutely go back into the palette and use the colors that you used on the eyes, like that darker mauve. I'm not really going to call it a purple because it's not really purple. It's more like a dusty mauve, but you can build it up. And you can absolutely use that for the lower lash line. But again, I think I want to add a little pop of color, so I'm going to use purple today. I'm going to start with the shade Fetish, and this is from Colored Rain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Sigma Flat Definer E15 brush, as you can see there, and I'm going to start packing this color all along the bottom lash line. I'm going to get it as close to the waterline as possible, so I just want to pack this color on. And as you can see, it really doesn't take too much to get really nice color payoff from Colored Rain eyeshadows. I love them. So I have that shade Fetish, like I said, as close to the waterline as possible. It's just almost like tight lining. And then I'm going to go in with my Sugar Pill eyeshadow in Poison Plum, which has quickly become one of my favorite purples because it is just so pigmented and just so beautiful. So I'm going to pick that up on a Morphe E36 brush. As you can see, it's just basically a tiny little fluffy brush, and it just helps to blend out shadows, especially on that lower lash line, where if you don't want to bring it down too low, this small brush is absolutely perfect. Now you can go as low as you want with this, blow it out as much as you can. I'm not going to go too low with this look today. So what I'm really just doing is kind of going on top of the purple I already put earlier, but then I'm going to bring it down a little lower so that it looks really smoky. So that's pretty much the purple on the bottom. Like I said, I wanted to add a little pop of color, but again, you could absolutely go back into the palette and use the same shades that you used up top. I really like the way this looks because it really does pop with that purple. Then for the waterline, I'm just going to go in with my ColourPop gel liner pencil in black, and actually the color Swerve, I believe it is, but it's their black. So we're going to go back into the Carli Bybel palette, and what I am going to do is I am going to use this second highlighter shade. The lights are probably washing the crap out of it, but it's almost like an iridescent pink color. So beautiful. So I'm going to pick up the same Royal and Langnickel brush that I used to do my brow bone highlight with. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that shade. These highlighters are super pigmented, so you kind of got to be careful when you put your brush in there. And I love it because it almost has like a lavender hue. It's almost like a duochrome. So I love the way that looks on the inner corner with this look. So to highlight my cheeks, I am going to go in with this shade right here. I don't think they have names back here, but to describe it to you, it's almost like a peachy gold shade. This shade would be nice on the cheeks, but I think It's a little too duochrome for this look, that I think anyway. But if you want to go for it, go for it, because they're going to see you from outer space with this shade. But I think I'm going to go in with this. Like I said, it's a peachy gold type of shade. And I'm going to use my Real Techniques brush. And I don't know what brush this is because they don't have any writing on it. But this is from the Metals collection. And I used it the other day to highlight, and I really liked the way it looked. So, yeah, very wet looking. I'm telling you, these highlighters are so creamy, so pigmented. I swatched them yesterday when I got it, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't touch the shadows, but I needed to swatch the highlighters, and I am just so, so impressed with the way they feel and the way they look. Trying to see if the camera's really picking that up and if I'm getting enough on there. I'm being like really careful because it's really so pigmented, but I think that that's on there. So. Yeah, I like it very much. You have so many highlighters in this palette, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the palette itself once I'm done with my lips, and also after I finish styling my hair, because this video is also a little bit of kind of giving you my thoughts. It's the first time I'm using the Deluxe palette. Like I said, I just received it yesterday, so I wanted to get a tutorial out there for you guys. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's in the palette, how I feel the shades work, and how the highlighters are, and that sort of thing. So for color today on the lips, I am going to go in with my Urban Decay Cream Lipstick in Rapture. I had a hard time picking a color for this look because I'm like, I don't want it to be too over the top, but I still want it to show. And I'm not going to line my lips today. This is actually a really nice shade for this eye look because it's kind of in the purple family. So it looks almost monochromatic as you go from the lips down, I'm sorry, down from the eyes to the lips. It looks very nice. So I love the way that looks. So I am going to finish off as I do with my Milani Make It Last setting spray. And I'm doing this at night. I literally have no place to go after this. So I'm like, you're locking in your makeup for absolutely nothing. But that's the way I finish off all my looks. So I'm going to do that. So I am just going to style my hair, and I will be back in just a moment. All right, guys. So I'm back. I'm going to talk a little about the actual Carli Bybel palette. This is the Deluxe edition. I do have the one that, sorry, the lights are probably washing that out. I do have the first one that came out. I loved the highlighters in that palette. The eyeshadows for me, unfortunately, were very hit or miss. But the shadows that I used today for this look, again, as you know, I didn't use all of the shadows. Very impressed with them, especially like that mauve that I used in the middle here. I didn't take the plastic off here. Very impressed with the color payoff on that. It was just a couple of swipes of the brush. I tapped off the excess, and the color was right on my lid, so I really did like that. It's a pretty big palette. I think we got it on sale. My sister and I, I'm going to see if I can move over here, had ordered it, and it was $19, I think, or $19.99, and that was for pre-order. The regular price for the palette is, I think, $22 when it finally comes out for just like general sale. But you get so many beautiful shadows. Again, this is something that's very subdued colors, but perfect if you're not one for very bright or very dark smoky eyes. If you're looking for a palette that you can use for work, like I said, because these, you know, you still have a shadow look on your eyes, but it's nothing crazy or over the top, especially if you work in an office or something like that. The highlighters down here, completely different story. Altogether, just absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch the highlighters, and then I'm going to show you what they look like on my arm. So I'm just a little closer to the camera because I want to show you these swatches. These are all the highlighters that are in the Carli Bybel Deluxe palette. You have a wonderful range of colors, in my opinion, from the very light, almost pearlescent or duochrome to a really nice kind of bronzy highlighter here. So I think that you have all skin tones covered with these highlighters. I just love the way they look. I did, you know, put more than you would probably put on your face. I just wanted you to really see the shades of them, but you can pick up a really nice amount with just a little bit of effort. So those are the highlight swatches from the Carli Bybel palette. I really like this palette. I have no complaints. Like I said, with the shades that I used today, the eyeshadow shades, I was very impressed with how they applied. Because the shadows are not dark, the darkest one that I found for me that I was using today, which was this one right here in the middle, I did have to add more to build it up. But they're not horrendously powdery, a little bit, so you have to really tap off the excess, but it's not a lot of kick up. Sometimes you get shadows that have just this poof of like powder that just comes out of there as soon as you stick your brush in there. That is not the case that I found with the shadows that I used today. Of course, the ones that are shimmery or kind of like a pressed pigment are really creamy, so you're not going to really get a lot of kick up with those. I really like the palette. Like I said, it's just a beautiful palette. The price is absolutely right. It was only $19 for pre-order, and I believe it's going to be $22 for general sales. So you can't go wrong with all of these products for $22 in this palette. So that does it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that it's something that you feel inspired to recreate, whether on yourself or someone else. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and also click that little bell so that you get alerted as to whenever I upload new videos. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.